Welcome to Brian Ruhe Show. Today's August 31st, 2017. My guest is Jim Rizoli in Boston. He's got a YouTube channel that with hundreds of videos challenging the Holocaust narrative at J Rizoli. So Jim, welcome back to the show. I guess this is about your third time or so.
Yes, good to be here, Brian. I appreciate that I can come and talk about some of the things that interest me the most.
Yeah, we certainly share an interest in the Holocaust. I wanted to follow up with you because I made a video a week ago after I was in the newspaper here. They called me notorious local Holocaust denier, and I made a video saying, well, I saw a video by David Irving. He was saying that on the Russian front, the Germans had to move quickly because of expediency, and he said they killed about a million Jews they executed. So I took that from the authority David Irving, and then you and I had this conversation, and with Diana as well, that this may not be true. So I wanted to clarify that, especially for my audience, because all I did was listen to a David Irving video back in April.
Right. Well, here's the deal when it comes down to the Holocaust, and I've read practically all the books that deal with it from the revisionist side, okay? And I don't really deal with it from the other side because they're so off I don't even waste my time. But David Irving, first of all, he's not a Holocaust denier, quote, revisionist, whatever you want to call us. He's a historian. And so he's going to get his information from the sources, that are out there, and that's fine. But when it comes down to the numbers of the Holocaust, I have a problem with all these numbers, okay? And when you think about it, saying 1 million people were killed, 1 million people, that's a lot of people. All right?
1 million Jews, he was saying, yeah.
Well, whatever, I mean, obviously. So the question I would have to David Irving is, where did they die, first of all? How did they die? And where were they buried? All right? You have to... if you're going to be looking into a murder scene, which that would have been a pretty big murder scene, and you're going to do forensics on it, the only thing you can go by is those three things. So if he can show me all those three things, where did this happen, how did it happen, where are they buried, fine. Now, that's the question I have to you if you talk to him. Did he, well, of course you didn't talk to him, but I mean, you were referring to his video. So I don't know what he actually said. I know he did say when I was looking at his videos that he felt, particularly at Treblinka, that between 1 million to 2 million people were killed in those so-called, Reinhard camps. All right, and so doesn't David Cole, so doesn't Mark Weber. So, there's a few others that might, Eric Hunt. Those people believe the same thing. But again, I asked the same question to them. Can you show me, where it happened, how it happened, and where they're buried? All right? Because
good question,
I'm just saying, I'm looking for answers just as much as they are. And I hate when I see people parrot the official Jewish version of the Holocaust. Because, again, remember, in Auschwitz, they said, in the beginning anyway, 4 million people died in Auschwitz. And then
4.1.
Then they lowered the debt to 1.5 to 1 million, and now it's even under, it's 500,000 or 600,000.
Yeah.
The official Red Cross said there was under 70,000, around under 80,000 people that were killed in Auschwitz. I mean, whose figures are right? That's what gets me about this Holocaust thing. They're throwing around figures like, oh yeah, all these people died, and this is the figure we come up with, and I don't get it. I don't believe it.
I saw a list from the 1940s. They would change the number every year, like from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. They would change the total number.
Right. So
based on what? I don't know.
I mean, so don't even now. People that believe in the Holocaust, they say approximately 1.5 to 3 million people died. Okay, that's what they say. Or Jew, if you want to say Jews, I suppose you can encompass them. Okay, and that's fine if you're going to tell me that. But again, give me, show me how all this happened. So that's the official. These are official Jewish people now or pro-Holocaust people that say between 1.5 million to 3 million died.
You're talking about Treblinka alone, right? Treblinka or Auschwitz?
No, I'm just saying, generally, because I'm reading all different types of things. Generally, they say between 1.5 to 3 million died. All right, probably including Treblinka too, I guess. But
what about the 6 million? What about the cherished 6 million figure?
That's the point. That's the point. So in other words, let's just deal with it from the official Jewish version people that have lowered it to that number. So obviously you're off by 3 million. So if you really want to be accurate about this, then you're going to say 3 million people died. But they don't do that. They stick with the 6 million. They always tout the 6 million, and then everybody believes in 6 million. I mean, it doesn't make...
So 6 minus 3 equals 6.
Well, according to them, they got fuzzy math. Well,
I guess that aren't they saying that when they brought Auschwitz down from 4 million to 1 million, that the other 3 million were just killed somewhere else, but they made a mistake, but they're actually killed someone else. Isn't that how they justify the 6 million?
They probably do. They have a lot of ways. What gets me about all these figures is, I really question high figures in anything. I'm talking any subject matter that happens when they say 1 million people died in this skirmish, or 1 million people died in this flood, a million people died here, or they always throw out high figures. I'll give you a perfect example. When 9/11 happened, the official figure in the beginning, 10,000 people were killed. I don't know if you remember.
Really? I don't remember that. Wow.
Oh yeah, they were talking right when this happened. Right when it happened. Oh, there's got to be at least 10 million people. Not 10 million. I'm sorry. 10,000.
10,000.
10 million? Oh no.
Yeah.
10,000. All right. So they say 10,000 people were killed. Okay. So as time went on and they got the figures, then they got it down to about 3,000. You see? So they started off. It was 3 times more. And it's the same thing when you're dealing with the Holocaust or any event. How do you prove it? I mean, who's there with the bean counter here counting all these people?
Yeah, because the Nuremberg trial was right after the war in 1945. They decided it was 6 million then, but how do they count it so early, right? I guess that's your point.
Oh yeah, they what happened with the Nuremberg trial actually, I think their official number might have been like 4 or 5 or whatever. But right, how did they get that number so quickly? It's impossible. It's impossible.
I thought they had 6 right at the beginning. I thought they said 6 million right in Nuremberg.
Right. But like I said, it all depends who you talk to. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they came up with 6, and then they changed it to 4, and then with Haas, because he was the big man that they relied on about the numbers. Okay. But you got to show me all those things that I mentioned in the beginning. I mean, if you're going to tell me 1 million people died, you got to prove it. You don't just say it. It sounds good. But here's the reason why they say it. Because they're trying to make it look like that millions of people, we don't know what happened to them. And so they in their own mind say, well, we don't know what happened to them, so they had to die. Okay, that's the reasoning. They had to die.
They might have emigrated.
Well, yeah, right. But here's what I've been reading and finding out. That 3 million, up to 3 million Jews could have died in Russia by the Russians. Okay, so up to 3 million could have died in the Russians, because what happened is, what people don't understand is when the war started, a lot of the Jews went to Russia. They left and went to Russia. Okay, so Polish Jews, a lot of Jews, they went to Russia, and so no one's accounting for those people that went to Russia. Again, we don't know exactly how many, but I'm sure thousands and thousands probably died there. But again, being killed by the Russians or in their realm in Russia somewhere. So that's
an important point. I didn't realize there's 3 million in Russia.
I'm just saying, this is what some people say. Again, what I'm coming out with is, it all depends who you talk to. That's what this all comes down to. It all depends who you talk to. Okay.
But didn't the Germans, and the extent of their total control, didn't the Germans only have 3 million Jews in their control at the height of their powers?
Right. They didn't. As far as that, again, that statistic is, they had between 2 and 4 million. Okay, now that's
Okay.
a big
So it's
jump.
impossible that they killed 6 million because they didn't even have 6 million.
Right. There were only in Germany about a couple 100,000 Jews. And
Yeah, 2/3 had left, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
they were all gone. Okay, so
Yeah,
in
2/3 left.
Germany, that's how many Jews are in Germany. Of course, they say all the Jews that went into the camps came from everywhere else. Okay, that's what they try to make you believe. But see, I don't believe that. I don't believe. I think, especially at the end of the war, another thing that happened, people aren't unaware of, that a lot of Jews went back to Poland, and the Poles end up killing a lot of Jews after the war. See,
Really?
yeah, people
How
don't
come they didn't like the Jews?
Oh, Poles hated the Jews. Yeah.
The Polish Catholics hated the Jews.
Well, whoever they hated the Jews. See, people don't understand that either. Yeah, Poles didn't like the
Wow.
Jews.
I didn't understand that either.
Oh no, but I mean,
No.
they probably Catholics. You're right. So that's another situation we have to understand, that people died in Poland after they went back too. See, so however number of Jews existed, there's a lot of different things that happened to them in the scenario. Okay, like I said, they went to Russia. They could have been killed in Russia. A lot of them left anyway. They went to Palestine. They went to other places, and
Probably the United States.
they eventually ended up in the United States. But the thing that makes it hard to track them is a lot of them changed their names. Okay, so you couldn't find them. In other words, if you're looking for a Rosenberg, they could have changed the name to Rose. Okay, that's what they do.
Yeah,
So,
especially those times, the records weren't as good as now. Yeah, I could see how they could just lose track of them.
oh yeah, they did. That's why a lot of family members, they assume that their family members died or were killed. But what they don't realize is they could have just as well survived, but you haven't found them yet. Okay?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't believe the Holocaust narrative about the concentration camps. I knew the Germans were not executing them in the concentration camps, but David Irving's point was about, on the Russian front, the Germans had to move fast with expediency and had to kill partisans. So he said, well, they executed 1 million Jews. So I just took his word for it. But I know David Irving, he's more of a the greatest scholar on Adolf Hitler, but like you say, he's not a revisionist, so I'm not sure if he's compromised or what.
Where's he getting his figure? Okay, so now I'd question him on this. I would just say, okay, David, so if they executed him, how did they do it? Did they put a bullet in the head? Okay, so you're going to find them somewhere. I mean, 1 million people. I mean, that's a lot of people. People don't understand how much 1 million people are. Okay, and you got to bury 1 million people. So where were they executed? Okay, just tell me where they were executed. Okay, in this
I guess
area,
the Russian front's a big space, right, over 1,000 miles long.
So if they were executed in X space, where is X space? And let's dig those bodies up, because again, they're going to be bodies. They weren't cremated. They didn't have crematoria there. So show me where they were buried.
I guess it's not likely they would cremate them. It also costs a lot of fuel and energy to cremate. They probably wouldn't go to that much expense, right?
The only places they have the crematoria, as far as I can see, were in certain camps, and not all camps had crematoria. Treblinka, Sobibor, I think those camps did not have crematorias. So you had to bury them.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So in Treblinka, what they ended up doing, they ended up saying they were burned on pyres, which makes no sense, because it is very difficult to burn a body.
Yeah, it takes time. A body's 70% water. Think of all the wood it would take to.
Oh my God! It's hard to believe how much it would. When you think about this, in Treblinka, they said that they put these pyres out made with rail ties, and it looked like a hibachi. Okay, and then they put the bodies on them, and they had about 3,000 or 4,000 supposedly bodies on this hibachi. Now, underneath it, you had a space where you could put the wood. I mean, you know how much wood you would need to burn them? The bodies are piled, 10, 15 feet high. I mean, there's no way
That's ridiculous.
Plane could get around them. I mean, there's no way. It's impossible. But
there's a good YouTube video called 1/3 of the Holocaust. I'm sure you've seen it. It's like 4 hours long, and they demonstrate how long it takes to burn like a piece of pork and stuff. Like how many hours and all the wood it would take. It's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it's just, you see, again, this is what gets me about the Holocaust and people that believe in it. They never look at the logistics of what's going on there. Like, for instance, in Auschwitz, they claim, how many thousands of people, were killed in Auschwitz in the first building, Auschwitz 1 Crema, and they claim that 600 or 700 people were jammed into a room there, and they threw Zyklon B gas onto the floor, and poof, in 10-15 minutes the people are dead. But what people don't understand is what it takes to kill a person.
That's the claim, yeah.
Just one body, when they do executions, okay, in the prisons, when they use that method, it would take at least 10 to 15 minutes to do it. Okay, if everything was working properly, by the time you did it and it was done, 10 or 15 minutes anyway, and.
Yeah, I think they claimed it was done in 3 minutes or 5 minutes.
Well, I mean,
remember Germar Rudolph saying they tested it couldn't have been.
Right, but that's if the person cooperated, okay? Because they told the person that taking a deep breath, it would go better for them and they'd be dead quick. And it could be 5 minutes. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't, but the point I'm making is the things you have to do after. I wanted to just talk about logistics in Auschwitz, because people don't understand what it takes to kill a person with Zyklon B, because the United States have been killing people for years using cyanide, and it takes at least, on a good day he'd be dead in probably 4 minutes, 5 minutes. On a bad day it could take 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, so that's one person. Okay, that's just one person, and that's the best scenario of the mix of Zyklon B for that person. And then what has to happen is they have to go in when he's dead and wash him all down. First of all, evacuate the chamber, wash them all down, and put all the stuff on them to clean them up, and clean up inside the whole thing too. Okay, and that takes a while to do all that. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't just happen in a few minutes here. I mean, this is a process for one person to execute one person, and yet the Jews want you to believe that putting, in a small room, 300 or 400 or 500 people, whatever, that they can kill all these people by just throwing Zyklon B into an opening, and it's going to go on the floor and poof, and they're going to be all dead in 10 or 15 minutes.
I think Germar Rudolph said their claim was even 3 to 5 minutes they claimed, which he said is not possible.
Right.
So that's what their claim was, which couldn't have been true.
No, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, but again, multiply this times, okay, Birkenau, they said they put between 2,000 to 3,000 people in a room, a 2,000 square foot room, which would only give you a foot of space, okay, for each person. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. And so, in other words, you're squeezed in so much that you couldn't even move in the room, okay? And if you died, you would be dead standing up.
Yeah, that's the official story. They died standing up. We all heard that story.
Well, no, but they changed that too, because they said the bodies are all piled up on top of each other.
Yeah, they're struggling to get to the top, right? To stop it.
Right. So you have all different stories of how they died. Were they standing up? Were they all on top of each other? They had to pull them all apart in the bundle because they were all over each other. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then again, let's say, you're taking the bodies out one at a time. I mean, and then you got to bring them someplace to cremate them. And again, that takes, at least an hour to 2 hours to cremate one body. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, you could do it
with thousands of bodies.
On a good day, let's say on a good day, if all the crematoria were working in Birkenau and these camps, they can only do about 1,000 bodies a day. They
could burn that many. Wow.
Yeah. Well, if you had 50 crematoria going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they didn't ever have 50 crematoria going. I'm talking if you had 50 crematoria and you did you did 20 bodies each one a day. That's 1,000 people. Okay. How
many did they have? Like a dozen crematoria?
Oh no, they had between all the camps in Auschwitz about 52.
Okay.
There was about 52 of them. But remember, they all weren't working at the same time. It's impossible, because if you have a crematoria working, you have to stop it at some time to clean it out. Okay, so I mean, at some point you got to stop it, and you got to get the thing down so you can clean it out and get it working again, and that's going to take hours.
It takes time.
Hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. So the problem with the Holocaust is the length of time it takes to kill a person in these chambers, and how you get rid of the bodies. And the getting rid of the bodies is actually the worst part of it, because you have more bodies to get rid of than the time to kill. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah, time. They said they would drag them with hooks and drag them upstairs, to the crematorium.
Well, in Birkenau, in Crema 2 and 3, they dragged them to a little elevator, and you can only put about 4 or 5 bodies on that little, whatever the heck it was, type of elevator. And they brought them up to the first floor, okay, because that was ground level, and then you had 15 crematoria there. Okay, times, there's 5 crematoria, but they have, I think, 3 ovens in each one. So there's 15 ovens, and so you're bringing them all up, so you can only do, one body in an hour or two, okay, and then you got to wait for the next batch to come up to do it again. So that would mean in a day, you're getting rid of 1,000 people, and you still have 2,000 to 2,000 people on the bottom in the ground waiting to be cremated for the next day. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, but people they never think of the common sense things of how all these things work, how you have to kill a person, how you have to cremate them, and then you got to get rid of the ash. Okay? I mean, the ash just doesn't disappear. I mean, you have
the ash has some bones in it and some teeth, right? They can't burn all the teeth.
And there's 8 pounds of ash for each body. Okay, 8 pounds. And so, I mean, if you're going to tell me 1 million people were cremated, that's a million. That's 8 million pounds of ash. Okay, so where did you put? Oh, we threw it in the stream. I don't think so. I mean, really, that's going to be a problem with the water. I mean, they're going to be polluted.
And I think they claimed they buried some of it. Then later they poured concrete over the ground so no one could examine that and dig it up to test that, because it's not true.
Okay, fine. So show me where that is. Show me.
Yeah, it's illegal. They won't allow you to dig it up.
Yeah, right. Well, the point is with the Holocaust people is they have an answer for everything, but the answer is just stupid. It makes no sense how they try to answer. Yeah, I heard they say they took the ashes and they put them in the fields and they grew the crops with it, or they put it on the road and mixed it with the dirt, so you drove over it. I mean, that's how they explain that. See? I
think what people really believe is the emotional stories. Like, people read the newspaper, all these emotional stories and eyewitness accounts, and that's enough for people. They don't have to look at real evidence or common sense or figure it out the way you have. They just listen to the stories.
Well, right, but the thing is that's why we have to cross-examine each person and what they said to see what really happened, and we're never given the opportunity to do that.
Except it happened in the 1985 trial, the Holocaust trial in Toronto, and their testimony didn't want any eyewitnesses because their testimony was so bad.
Yeah, well, right, because they just couldn't explain it. Okay, and these are supposedly experts on what happened, and that was that, because in the '88 trial, they didn't show back up again. They probably weren't invited. That's why. They probably said,
right.
We don't want you coming back because the testimony was so bad. Jeez.
Yeah.
So that's a problem there. See, so the whole logistics of the Holocaust from their perspective. Again, I just want to get in a conversation with somebody about it, just logically having them give me answers. But we are never able. If you ever noticed this, we are never, revisionists are never able to talk to somebody about it and discuss it logically. They
refuse to debate. They never agree to debate because they know they will lose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what does that tell you? And their answer to the reason why is that this topic has been proven so much that it would be below our dignity to give Holocaust revisionists an opportunity to defend themselves when we already know it's been proven 100% factual, whatever.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way to avoid the discussion. Yeah, I know. It's beneath their dignity. They don't want to give you the publicity. Yeah, it's beneath their dignity.
That's another thing too. I noticed that if we ever had to go to a college and sit down, I mean, that's what I would love to be able to do, and sit down on a discussion board and just cross-examine and ask questions. They would be tongue-tied. I mean, that's what would happen. And then if you had to cross-examine an older person, remember, these people are 75, 80 years old now. Well, 90 years old if they're still living. And
very few, yeah.
They're going to be confused on a lot of things they say now, and they're going to get mad at you because they're going to think you're berating that person because they're an old person, and you're getting them all nervous and upset, because you're trying to show them to be wrong. And I'm saying, well, in court you'd have to answer the same questions. I mean, I don't know what the problem is, but they have an answer for everything as long as they can keep the revisionists from discussion, any discussion on it. That's what they're going to do, and that's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on the Holocaust trial, Raoul Hillenberg, like the foremost scholar on the gas chambers on the Holocaust side, he said he was at a loss to provide any proof that there were gas chambers. Right. He himself, under oath, he says he was at a loss. So there you go.
Yeah, he couldn't prove it. And that's why, if people really want to get the flavor of that trial, if they read the 6 Million Die book, well, actually it's not a book. It's if you can get the transcript. What's her name? Barbara Kazuka?
Barbara Kolaska. Barbara Kolaska.
Okay.
Kolaska.
She did the whole thing. That transcript. She took the trial, and kind of chipped it down a little bit, and put up the major points on that file there. Her 6 million did 6 million die of the universal trial. It's about 900 pages. Okay, even being cut down. And so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, what's good about that book is you can see all the people that testified and see what they said, really nicely, exactly what the questions were and how they responded.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Wow.
And that's important because that was the only time the Holocaust was put on trial.
It's very important. Yeah. It's such a success for us, too.
Oh, no, absolutely. Because these people under oath had to tell the truth, okay, and they couldn't. The truth didn't match up with facts, okay, and they were laughed at.
Or their truth didn't match up with facts, or their eyewitness testimony didn't match up with the truth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and and Zundel at that trial, he had like about 21 people testify in behalf of him, okay, and whereas the other side only had a handful, okay, so. Even with so many people testifying in behalf of Zundel, he still lost. I mean, he still lost the case.
Well, it was a controlled trial. They wouldn't let him win.
Right. I mean, the only good news about that trial was the publicity that Zundel got, and the fact he didn't have to go to jail at that time because he was out, I guess you say, on bail or whatever until the appeal, and so until what 1992. When the court system came down and said it was unconstitutional, what they were trying him for, well, that was the end of that. Okay, so
that's why he's such a hero. Yeah, I agree with the Holocaust narrative being a big lie, but you helped clarify the Russian front, the Eastern Front, because that's not part of the concentration camp system, and you made a good point that they don't explain how do they kill 1 million people and where are they, where are the bodies now?
Yeah.
And where's the evidence? Yeah, good point.
There's no evidence, and again, if you had and another thing too, might I say, Charles Larson. Okay, he was a doctor that actually went into Dachau, and he was a forensic doctor, and he did autopsies on over 1,000 bodies. Okay. He did autopsies on 1,000 bodies in Dachau, and he even said that none of these people were killed by Zyklon B gas.
Wow, so how did they die? It was like typhus and disease and starvation?
They died of natural causes. And so So Charles Larson, if you just listen to exactly what he said, he said basically that according to his forensics test, that nobody was shown to have Zyklon B in them to the degree that you would say they were killed with the product. Okay, so
was there any Zyklon B and any cyanide gas?
Well, some people might have had minuscule traces of it, but you gotta have to understand that Zyklon B was in the camp and buildings and stuff, so you would, at some point in time, you'd probably get it somewhere. But
you mean they're using it for the delousing of bedding and sheets, that kind of thing.
That's what it was
so it would leak around?
Yeah, but see, they try to make it sound like, oh, just because they had a faint amount of it around them or in their hair, that these people were killed with Zyklon B, but that wasn't the case. Okay, I mean, these people, again, think about it. The people that took the clothes, okay, and disinfested the clothes had to take the sheets and all these type of things, and outside, so there had to be some sort of residue kicking around everywhere, okay, especially if they're handling all this stuff. And so, I don't have any problem with that, but the biggest problem is what Charles Larson said, the fact that according to his forensic studies, that no one was killed with Zyklon B gas.
Very good. Yeah, that's 1,000 tested.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, yeah. So again, you'd have to show.
This is at the time. He was there at the time, you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, after 1945.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, he has a book. He wrote a book. Someone wrote a book about him being a forensic pathologist, and the book actually is about him being a pathologist in all his years. But he has a short amount of, maybe about a few pages, 10 pages, that he talked about the camps.
So what was his situation? Was he there after the war examining bodies after the fact?
Yeah, he went in the Dachau.
So these are, how did he get access to the bodies? Were they not buried? Were they lying around?
In Dachau, the bodies were on the ground. They were dead.
Oh, like the photos we've seen, all those dead bodies.
And they might have exhumed some too. I think they might have exhumed them. I believe that they did that too. Okay, so the point is they try to get a good idea of how these people died, and he figured it out that they didn't die by being poisoned with any type of gas.
Wow. So was it the Americans that conducted these autopsies? You wonder, why would they even do that? If they're trying to fake this gassing, why would they even do that?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, they did put the time and effort in to do it, and they did come to a conclusion. Of course, Charles Larson too. Remember, he did believe that millions of people were killed, but I'm just dealing on the forensics. Okay, he could say as many as he wants, but because he didn't have all the facts at the time either. He's only parroting what he was told, because he wasn't an expert in the numbers and how many people went through the camps and all this and that. That wasn't his expertise. His expertise was forensics. And
what camp was he at? Was that Dachau?
That was Dachau.
Dachau, okay.
Yeah. And so I'm sure there were probably maybe other cases of things being done too, but no one talks about it. No one wants you to know about it. Probably, I don't know. It's just that's probably what. But again, they're gonna say they had the Krakow Institute or whatever. They did their own forensics and they found traces. But what does that mean? Traces. Like I said, Zyklon B was everywhere. I mean, they disinfested the buildings. They did the clothing. They did a lot of things. I mean, it's got to.
I guess they sprayed around the buildings, right? As a disinfectant. Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't think about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would think when people came into the camp, they had to make sure that these buildings were lice-free too. You had hundreds of thousands of people going through the camps. That's a lot of people. You didn't have millions. You had hundreds of thousands. 200,000 or 300,000 people going through the camps or whatever. But they had to make sure things were clean and free of all these type of problems, because you wouldn't want to get people infested by what's there. I mean, that would be kind of dumb.
Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, I didn't think about that there would be Zyklon B gas around for that reason. Well, I mean, so there would be traces anyways.
I would think, but remember that doesn't prove anything except that there was residual here and there in hair. Of course, it's going to be in hair because they cut the people's hair. But I don't know how. They claim they cut the people's hair. This is funny because they claim they cut it before they went in, and then some say they cut it after they went in. I mean, you know, who do you believe? You know what I'm saying? As far as I understood, I would have thought they would have cut the hair at the same time they disinfested them. You know, the people, when they brought them into the camp to clean up. I would think that's when they would have cut their hair too, because you're trying to get them all clean. You don't want hair with stuff in it all the time, right? So clean them up all at once.
Yeah.
And
that's because lice gets in the hair. That was the reason to shave the head, you know. People think it was so awful to shave the head, but it's just done for health reasons.
I know. They made it look like it was a bad thing. They don't understand that the Germans are trying to keep you alive by shaving you. Okay, but they shaved their head. It was a humiliating experience shaving.
Yeah, hard for women, humiliating, but it's just to keep them alive, to look after the health. That's so they could work. They needed workers, all the workers they could get.
Yeah, they had to keep these people as healthy as can be, and even I don't know if it was Himmler. One of the high-ranking.
I read a letter by Himmler saying we have to keep the health rate up. We have to keep the death rate down. We need these people.
He was mad because during 1942, that's when the biggest death rate happened, and he says there's too many people dying in these camps. You know, we got to do more to keep these people alive. Yeah,
people can Google that letter. People can Google that and read it. There you go. Well, he's trying to keep them alive. Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah, you got to get the whole story, and they never got the whole story. You see, so I mean, it's something. You just have to sit down and take all the facts and what is truth and what is lies, and they don't do it. They don't want to do it because they have this story they want you to believe.
Yeah. This is good. I appreciate all your efforts. You've got hundreds of videos, and I think you said YouTube deleted your previous channel with like 600 videos related to the Holocaust.
Videos. Yeah, half of them are probably on the Holocaust, but they just deleted them, way back when, and that's how they do things. And I don't doubt that it's going to happen again. That they're going to delete all our videos. Anybody that questions the official Jewish version of the Holocaust, the same thing's probably going to happen to their videos too.
Well, now YouTube, they seem to be restricting individual videos by cutting off, comments, likes, sharing. So maybe they'll just have them that suspended state. So maybe it's actually good. Maybe they won't delete your channel or my channel if they just pick on individual videos. I never noticed
that. That's, I suppose, good. But they, my videos, and I'm sure yours are too, are banned in 24 countries. Right?
Yeah, mine are too, yeah. I get that restriction now on most of my new videos now, but at least they haven't deleted my channel, so
well,
look on the positive side.
The only thing good about YouTube is, in the beginning, when I started putting videos up, what they did was, you'd get 3 strikes. I don't know if you remember this, but you'd get 3 strikes.
Oh yeah, they're still doing that now. I have 1 strike that's just being lifted now.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
I've had 1 strike about 3 different times.
Really? Because I haven't gotten any. That's why they took me off. I had 3 strikes. Then they shut the whole site down.
Yeah, 3 strikes, they shut you down. So it's a serious thing to get a strike, yeah.
Well, I don't know. What did you say that was so serious to get a strike? Do you remember?
It was just the title. Oh, yeah, it was just the title of the video.
No kidding.
Like one was called Jews Burned to Stubble. It was a Christian who gave a talk, a biblical interpretation of the end times.
Oh.
It's called Jews Burned to Stubble. So I don't think YouTube ever watched the video. Yeah. They just didn't like the title, so they gave me a strike.
Well, that's what happens. The people that complain about your videos usually don't watch them. They just see them there and automatically go after them and hit you with a strike.
It's the title, yeah.
Yeah, I see that all the time, yeah. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? But this, this whole Holocaust thing, a lot of people say to me, it's not like I know David Duke doesn't think the Holocaust is that. Well, let's put it this way: he won't make that a big discussion point, and I can understand that because they'd be coming after him even more so. When you talked to David, how did that go? I didn't see the video.
Yeah, no, that's been really sad. We talked for 3 hours. He covered a lot of things. Like he talked about how Harvard is Jewish dominated. Yeah, he didn't talk much about the Holocaust. He just touched on it. Yeah. I'm the same way in my videos. I maybe talk about the Holocaust on 10 different videos, but I don't focus on it. I talk more about international Jewish power in general.
Yeah, I mean, if you really jump into the Holocaust like I do, you're gonna have more problems. I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're brave. You're going for this is like the flagship. This is like the they have to plug every leak in that ship because the whole state of Israel rests on the existence of the Holocaust. Well, so you're going for the most sensitive thing, right?
Well, it is. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Every problem that we're having in this world right now can all be centered from 1945 onward and what happened with the Jews.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. Yeah. Everything is revolving around that issue because they're so sensitive to that issue more than any other issue on YouTube, on websites. That's what they're coming after. The white supremacist thing, they deal with that. But the Holocaust, oh boy, they hate that with a passion, because that's their baby. You come after that.
It's the core of their power, the core of their ethical. It's like the moral standard of the 20th century is the Holocaust. It's the most highest ethical concern anyone could possibly ever have is the Holocaust.
Yeah.
To deny that is the worst thing anyone could possibly do.
Oh, yeah.
5 years imprisonment for your belief in Germany. Like you can rape a woman in Germany and go to jail for 1 year, or if it's really severe rape with penetration, maybe 2 years. But deny the Holocaust, you get 5 years.
Well, I mean, think about it here. If you committed manslaughter and killed somebody, all right, and you got manslaughter, you'd probably only get 5 years, okay?
Yeah.
And you'd probably be out in a couple. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, if you murdered someone, really murdered them, I mean, you'd get more years. But
it was premeditated, yeah. But manslaughter is like you didn't really intend to. Well, it was spontaneous. You didn't intend to do it. You punch someone out and then they die.
Right.
Yeah, that's manslaughter.
Yeah, or if you ripped off some. If you were a big corporation on the stock market field and you ripped off like Bernie Madoff did, of course he went to jail for a long time. But I'm just saying, normally these guys go to jail for like 4 or 5 years, and they're out. I think Bernie Madoff, he went to jail because he got Jews mad. You understand? And that's what happened with him.
Oh.
He got too well. I mean, Eli Wiesel had all his money invested in Bernie. He had $9 million invested in Bernie Madoff's scam. He lost $9 million.
From Saint Weasel.
Yeah. Yeah. So Weasel lost all that money because he was invested with Bernie Madoff. And there was other people too, famous people. Spielberg, he lost quite a bit of money being invested with him, and I'm sure there's a lot of others. So, but again, when a Jew rips off a Jew, oh boy, what I mean? That's a bad thing. So. But
if you tell the truth about the Holocaust, that is just verboten.
Yeah, and the saddest part about it is, you don't get a chance to defend yourself. They just call you a Holocaust denier, and that's it. And you're the worst person that ever walked on the face of the earth. And if you said, well, look, I would love to sit down and debate this topic with you logically, calmly, with facts, I'd be happy to do it. No, they won't do it. They'll never do it.
Yeah, and it's like in the two of the local newspapers here, they called me local notorious Holocaust denier. They never asked me if I was Holocaust denier. They just heard about that from an article from 2 years ago or something. Yeah, if you deny any part of it, they call you a Holocaust denier if you question any aspect of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about the question. What makes me a Holocaust denier? Okay, what makes me that I don't believe that 6 million died. I do believe several 100,000 died. I do believe that.
Yeah, me too.
So I believe that most of them died by sickness and disease, and I don't believe they died in homicidal gas chambers of any sort. See, there's where you start to get the problem, because once you start saying how they died, you see, then they get kind of mad because they want you to think that they all died because they were executed in homicidal gas chambers. Yeah, and that's how that works out for you. So, what makes me a Holocaust denier? I don't believe your Jewish version of it. That's all.
Yeah. I like the term Holocaust skeptic rather than denier. Skeptic just shows a little bit, it's a bit milder than a just total denier.
Yeah. Well, again, just if you are confronted with it, just say, I don't agree with the official Jewish version 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. And there you go. And then I
agree.
I'll be glad to debate the topic with you, but that's never going to happen. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah.
interesting topic. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's why I don't get into 9/11. I don't get into all these other things that are happening, because all those things to me are just taking people off the trail of the Jews. You know what I mean? Because let's think about the truth. You call it the truther movement, the 9/11 truther movement. Most of those people will not discuss the Holocaust. I mean, they're not going to even talk to you about it. They're gonna.
They won't talk about the Holocaust. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to stay away from you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and all the other things that are happening, Sandy Hook thing,
Kennedy assassinations.
Charlottesville. Charlottesville is the new 9/11.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I'm saying? Because Charlottesville, I mean, that whole thing is really screwy, what happened there.
Yeah.
And, you're going to have a lot of people coming out, showing, what's going on here. It don't make sense. But, again, you can do that. No one's going to bother you, okay? Because who's going to bother you? I mean, no one cares.
Yes, it's not 6 million. It's not the foundation of the state of Israel with Charlottesville.
Right, and it doesn't directly attack Jews.
That's true.
See, so you can talk until the cows come home and all those other subjects, but not the Holocaust. Think
of in 1948, the whole justification for having the state of, they felt so sorry for the Jews. 6 million were Holocaust, a third of their population, so they had to give them the state of Israel. So the whole justification for the state of Israel was the Holocaust. That's why they just have to defend this, plug every leak in that ship. That's why it's so important to them, I think.
Oh yeah. If you start exposing that, then what happens is a lot of people's deaths now come on their shoulders of people that died because of the Holocaust. I mean, I'm talking to Germans. Germans, Nuremberg trials type of stuff, and all the people that died, because of the lie of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I mean, when you think about all these people that died for no reason. I mean, what event in history do you know that the losers were, a lot of them, thousands, were executed right after the war?
Yeah,
really?
It's terrible.
I mean, really? I mean, don't most people get to appeal and get to present, maybe something was done at the trial that wasn't done right? Or, oh, no, we just kill them, just kill them right now, no questions asked, and that's the point. They don't want them to come back. It's going to bite them in the ass later if they have these people come back to trial again.
I know. It's so unjust with the world owes Germany a big apology, They owe Adolf Hitler a big apology too.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but you and I know that.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad what's happened here, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And it's going to just, now they're coming after us in a lot of different ways now, and they're trying to censor us, take our websites down, take away any way we get paid because of PayPal. If you have a website that you sell books on.
Yeah, tell the audience about your website. How can they find you? And I can put it below this video as well.
Well, my website is ccfiile.com, and that's my major website that I have. It starts off with immigration stuff, and then I get into the Holocaust stuff, and a whole bunch of stuff too. So it's not just the Holocaust, okay?
Okay.
And then I have a Rizoli TV, RIZOLI TV.com, and then I have my personal blog, jrizoli, JRIZOLI.wordpress.com, and those are the major, the major sites that you can find, stuff published, by me.
And can they donate to you as well on those sites, and also on your YouTube channel?
If you get to my main website, you get my phone number. People have, it's been really good. People have thrown money our way, which enables us to come to Toronto Diane did, I did the year before, but, people give us money so we can travel, and that, it helps out a lot. You figure $10, $20 pays for, half a tank of gas, and so if you're driving somewhere, it's helpful. So, people have donated to our cause, and again, we don't go looking for money, but I look at it this way, including yourself, people helping you out too. It costs a lot of money to keep websites up. My website costs hundreds of dollars a year to keep up, and I got to pay for it. I mean, that's how it is. I mean, but we do it, and then people, they give us money, and that defers cost of a lot of things, that they're not able to get on TV, or they're not able to do YouTubes, they're not able to write about it, and so by donating and helping people that can, that's a big thing. That's good. I mean,
of course, yeah.
They're getting
this is your full-time job, right? This is like what you do full-time.
This is pretty much all I do. I mean, as you can see, all the books behind me. I mean, I have all the Holocaust handbooks. Well, right now I'm up about 38 of them or whatever, plus other books. And this is just this section. I mean, you got to see upstairs. Upstairs is where the main library. Joe's got hundreds of books, hundreds.
It's your twin brother, Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe's got hundreds and hundreds of books.
That's great. Yeah.
Plenty.
That's a full-time job for me too, the Brian Ruhe Show. Yeah, so people should appreciate you doing this full-time. Expenses.
Every day. I mean, I find it amazing. I mean, it's a lot of work. People understand, how much work it is to do it, because you got to get yourself up to do it, and you got to get people. You got to interview, make sure they're there, and
all the editing time after the video. It's all the time afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
this
video here, you're going to have to edit a little bit, but that's the way it is, I mean, I try to keep my videos, I try to keep them down to an hour, okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully people can sit and watch something for an hour. I know my David Duke video was about 2 hours, so I don't know if anybody ever even made it to the end of it. And yours was, you said 3. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, it's the type of thing, you have to watch kind of, in parts, or if you can watch it all at once, fine. But, it's better than watching TV, okay? That's the way I look at it. And what I'll do...
Better than Jewish controlled media.
Yeah, I mean, what you do with long videos is, as you're doing something around the house, inside the house, you put it on and just listen. And you're doing things.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it.
You don't have to watch it, just listen.
Watching is an option.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But, I mean, again, the audio is the most important in a video.
Okay? It's true. Audio is more important.
Like I told you what happened with my David Duke video. I lost the audio, but I recorded it on my recorder here, which it gives me a second backup in case let's say I have a problem with the audio. I don't know how the audio is coming out, but you're doing it too, so it doesn't matter. If the audio doesn't come out, I can splice it back in hopefully, and it will be salvageable.
Yeah.
Not easy, but it can be done. So that's the whole point of doing video editing. You gotta kind of rough it out sometimes, and save things that go wrong. Everything goes wrong with doing all these type of things, But at least I figured out what happened with this video here, because too much bandwidth is being used, and I just got to unhook things. That's all.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, this is the second half has worked good.
Yeah, so I
guess we covered everything, and this has been good. I think we covered the topic well,
Oh yeah. I mean, again, if people go to my website ccfiile.com, you can get in touch with me. I have a phone number there. You can always call. People, I welcome calls.
That's good.
Email me. My email is Mr. Tapman, MrTapman @gmail.com, and you could email me if you have questions, want to talk about something. But we're always there. Even though my cell phone at the moment has died, so I'm getting a new cell phone, so I don't have any.
I can post this below this video as well. Your email and your phone number as well below this video.
Yeah, well, my phone number is on the website too, and that's probably the home website, I think. So people can, that's my home, and people can call me if I don't get the message. Leave a message, So I do welcome people to get in touch with me. So if they do, and
that's good.
I thank you, Brian. You do a great job with your videos. You're probably, like I told you before, I think you are probably the most involved out there doing videos on these controversial topics. I don't know anybody. Well, I mean, there are other people that probably do it. I don't know, really, every day.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't compared so much what other people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. Believe me, I got to give you credit. That you can do it.
Well, I'm a true believer. This is my passion. It's my mission in life.
And that's the point. We need people like you to do this, to get the message out, or get the people that have the message to get out. And that's what you want to do. So I appreciate that you gave me the time to, at least get some information out there. And there's again a lot of research.
Yeah, well, you're a specialist at this. You know this topic. That's why I like to have you on my show.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is again, like I said, I don't get involved in any other topic except this one.
It's good to specialize because so much information in this world, and the Jews are into so many things. It's good to focus. I appreciate your focus.
There's not enough hours in the day. That's all.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
That's where I stand here. So I guess that pretty much is it on my side. So.
Yeah, well, this has been great. It's good having you on the show, Jim. Thanks for answering those questions because, yeah, I was a bit off on my own information, so I appreciate you and Deanna getting in touch with me.
Sure. Okay. Well, very good. Thank you for letting me have my say. And again, please get in touch with me anyway if you can.
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot, Jim.
You take care now.
Okay, see you.
Yeah, bye now.